Okay, so let's go ahead and cut this off and cut it open. Remember that you want to have a nice board with your name on it, especially if you're saving it. I'm not going to save this, but I'm just going to use the board today to kind of help me like compare things, all right? So your name and your period number are essential. I'm going to take this, I'm going to push down in the center. I'm not saving this, I am doing drills, so I'm seeing how I did. I'm not really super concerned about, keeping this. So looking at my piece, the first thing I notice is there's still a lot on the bottom. All right, so I could absolutely go a little bit deeper, but if I was trimming it, it would be actually kind of nice to have this amount left. I'm used to making projects to trim, so this is actually fairly normal for me to have a thicker base like this. The walls are very even going up, and I've got a pretty nice little corner here. Now, when you are if you're working and you notice that you have more of a curved bowl shape, it just means that you probably, when you were opening it up, didn't start enough with a flat base, okay? That's a pretty typical beginner thing. One thing is if you notice that the top is uneven. The top is uneven for one of two things. It could be because your clay wasn't centered when you started opening it. Centering is super important. Rewatch that video if you need to. I can't stress enough, you should not be trying to make a project if you can't center. Okay, so that is your number one goal every single day. Get it centered, all right? And that is tricky. So, you might need to come in and spend a little bit more time outside of class. The next thing is if it's uneven, it could be because you're changing the speed of your wheel as you are pulling. It could be that you don't have your elbows tucked in and your hands steady as you're pulling. Keeping yourself at a steady speed and the wheel at a steady speed will keep the walls nice and consistent. Consistency is key if you want to have a nice, even piece. You can kind of see mine right here a little bit better. Now, another thing to keep in mind is if you are noticing that you have an area that's super thin at the top. If it's really thin at the top, it's probably because you're not releasing pressure as you go up. You're applying the same amount of pressure. That's a really tricky thing to get used to. And then sometimes too, I have students that have a thin spot in the middle. Sometimes those students are stopping, taking their hands off and starting at the bottom. So you need to make sure you go all the way through as you pull up. Consistency is key. Making sure your arms are tucked in and secure is key. Making sure you're pulling everything and moving both hands at the same time is very key. But this is a really good example. And if yours looks a lot like mine, that means that you're starting to really grasp it. But if it's not looking like mine, it's going to probably take quite a few tries. You have to remember that I teach this course, so I've done it a lot of times. It looks so easy when I do it because I know what I'm doing. I feel it. And sometimes it's really hard for me as your teacher to explain what I'm feeling. You just have to feel it and do trial and error until it feels right. And then try to remember how it feels when it felt right and just keep repeating that. All right. I can give you as much feedback as you need while you're working, but really and truly, you have to be the one to put in the work and put in the practice, do as many cylinders as you want and come in as often as you need to. All right. So good luck. I look forward to working with you and I hope that you learned a lot today.